Now I think this is the live right here. Yep. So for some reason there was no chat in my last live. I had to shut it down and get it back, get it going again, so that we can make sure that we had a chat up and running. You know, I don't really plan on staying live too long tonight. I don't really plan on being on here that long, but I did just kind of want to come on here, open up this live to do a few things. One, to talk about the Switch ordeal that we've got going on, but also to kind of just highlight pretty much my six best trades so far in 2025. I wanted to just kind of show you guys that I was going to make this big, long, middle of the year video showcasing, all of the amazing pickups, but I'm just not in the mood to do anything like that. Plus, I feel like that those pickup videos are just they're getting played out. Like I can't remember the last time I did like a real pickups video. I'd rather do that stuff like in a live format. So gonna share some of that here in a little bit. But then also, um, like I said, yeah, just talking about the Switch 2 deal. So I'll just kind of breeze through some of these pickups. I guess these would be my top six trades. The last night I went over my most rare and expensive GameStop pickups. Tonight we're gonna go over the most rare and expensive trades of 2025. And these are all retro video games, no Switch or PS5 or PS4 games in this lineup. So let's go through it. Let's take a look at it. So first game was this copy of Pokemon Emerald. Pokemon Emerald. It's like a $220 game. But I had traded in a bunch of PlayStation 4 games and was able to pick this up. So this definitely ranks amongst the top six trades of 2025 so far. This wasn't necessarily a trade, but it was kind of like a bulk buy. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Roughly like it's gone down in value. JoJo at one point, especially on the PlayStation 2, I mean PlayStation rather, the PlayStation 1, I think it was at like around 250 at one point. Now it's probably gone down somewhere, I don't know, maybe it's in the neighborhood of 225 or 200. Very clean copy though, super clean copy. Was stoked to kind of get this for sure. This was a definitely a very clean pickup. Obviously, they've re-released JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They've got like a new version on the Switch and PS4. I think even on the PS5. But this was a clean trade. One of the cleanest trades. Another clean trade for 2025. Aya, what's going on? Another clean trade for 2025. Skies of Arcadia Legends. This was one of the coolest trades. I think I did this trade maybe first quarter of the year. Um, Tonisha, what's going on? Devereaux. I hope I said that right. Devereaux. I think that's how you pronounce that. But yeah, Skies of Arcadia Legends on the GameCube. This was a pretty sick trade that I did beginning of the year. Was glad to add this one. This was one that I really, really wanted in the GameCube collection. I'm just chilling. Just going live again. Nothing too long. I'm not gonna be live as long as I was yesterday. Yesterday I went live. I just started this live to kind of go over the six most valuable trades that I've done so far this year, and then talk about this whole Switch scenario because I want to talk to the community about this. I want to see how you guys feel. I posted a video earlier today talking about this, but I like it when it's interactive and we can talk in real time just to see how everyone feels about this. I think it makes for a good conversation. Yeah, definitely. And I think now is as good a time as any to talk about it. So far these are the top three trades so far. Now we're gonna keep going here, and I'm not really doing these in any particular order. But next up we have a Lunar the Silver Star. Now I already had a PlayStation version of Lunar the Silver Star. I had all of the components, all of the extras, all the trinkets and stuff, but I just didn't have the big box. So definitely traded and picked this one up. Was glad to add this one to the Sega CD collection. Was glad to add that there. Then we have Shining Wisdom on the Sega Saturn. Another solid pickup. Very interesting top-down RPG. Played a little bit of it. This music is super nostalgic, man. Super nostalgic. Everything that Sega puts out music-wise is just so nostalgic to me. was a huge fan of it. And then last but not least, we have the Pop Full Mail. So that was probably the most expensive trade so far this year, coming in at around 450 to 500 bucks. So just some light trades for the first half of the year. Nothing too crazy. Didn't want to make a video about it, like a full on like my best trades of 2025. Like I wasn't trying to make any kind of video like that. I think I'm getting over those types of videos, honestly. I'll let you guys know what I add in my collection because I know there's a good constituents of my community that likes to see the games that I add to my collection, especially the retro games that I add to my collection. So I'll continue to keep you guys in the know, but I really kind of want to talk about what's happening with gaming today, like modern gaming. And I was using this cartridge as a talking piece in my video earlier when I was talking about what's happening with the Switch 2 and all of this news around the MIG switch and how these Switch consoles are basically getting banned, right? The accounts are getting banned, the consoles are getting bricked. People aren't really able to access their online account. And I saw one video of a dude who actually got his console bricked and he tried everything. He tried logging into his account from his Switch OLED. He tried removing his Switch 2 from his account. He still couldn't, access anything. Then he basically wiped his Switch 2 clean. He did a factory reset on his Switch 2, thinking, okay, maybe I'll be able to get back into it. And even with a factory reset, he wasn't able to get his Switch going again. And so it was rendered pretty much useless. And at this stage of the game, there's really very small, well, there's a small number of games for the Switch 2 to begin with. But there was even an even smaller number of games that you can play now once your console is bricked because for anything that's really, key card that you're using for a key card, can't really access it without the internet. So I just thought that honestly it's a really tricky situation. I know not everybody's gonna try to use things like a MIG switch on their Switch 2. People are just gonna probably a lot of people are probably just gonna buy their Switch 2 and use their Switch 2 at standard mode. But is anybody in the chat? Any of you guys get a Switch 2 yet? I'm curious. Is anyone in the chat? Have you guys anyone experienced any of this bricking situation? If you do have a Switch 2, I'm curious to know where you guys stand on this. There's honestly been mixed reviews. There's definitely a lot of Nintendo vitriol right now. There's definitely like a lot of people who are not feeling the levels of intrusion that I think people feel by Nintendo. But at the same token, I also understand that it is a business. Like they have a business to run. They have, stockholders, stakeholders that they have to report to quarterly. They have a financial budget that they have to maintain. So it's pretty tricky, man. It's pretty tricky. But I think because of this, I'm sticking with retro, man. Like I am gonna continue to roll with retro gaming. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna completely forsake, like the Switch or like the PS5 and things like that. But just I'm just gonna stay focused on retro because I got a comment on my video earlier where someone was saying that they're noticing the prices of CDs, like music. They're noticing that the prices of CDs going up, and they're saying that it's probably because a lot of people are realizing that everything is going to go subscription based. They're going to want you to stream everything, and not everyone's going to want to pay those prices. There's a movie on Netflix that I strongly encourage you to go check out. It's called Leave the World Behind. And I think it paints a very good picture of what you could expect if people lost access to the internet or if there was some type of cyber terror attack. The movie, in the movie, they use pretty much, they hack systems, which causes ships to go astray. Like there's a scene in the movie where a family's on the beach and this like huge cruise liner just kind of rolls up right onto the beach because, there's no piloting system. It's been hacked, and the people have used the internet to basically spread propaganda in the streets, which has caused wars and stuff like that. And it's a really good movie. You got to check it out. I mean, I'm not into it for all the political stuff, but I think at the end scene of that movie is very telling because they basically make their way to this mansion in the Hamptons, and downstairs there's like this bunker that has like all this food and all this stuff, and you could tell like it's a survival bunker. And amidst all the food and all the survival stuff, there's a section in the bunker that has a huge stack of like DVDs, like DVDs and like CDs and stuff like that. And it's just crazy that in the movie, whoever was creating their survival plan, it's like they knew that outside of food and water and shelter, they were also going to need entertainment. And so they kind of saved all of those DVDs and CDs and movies and games and things like that as a means of being able to entertain themselves, until, whatever crisis was averted or had passed by. And I definitely could see a future like that coming where there's like we don't have access to all of the stuff that we loved, all the DVDs, the movies, the TV shows. I think, there's going to be a time where a lot of that just kind of goes away. And so now is a good time to preserve it. Go after the stuff that's cheap. Blu-rays are super cheap. You go into GameStop, not GameStop, if you go into Goodwill, rather, going to Goodwill, I mean, you can find some classic DVDs, some classic movies, things of that nature. I mean, you can find that stuff pennies on the dollar, literally 50 cents, a dollar. I say grab your favorite movie while you can. I mean, I've got a row of some of my favorite movies. Some of my favorite movies that I have on DVD. I have Fist of the Legend. For those of you who don't know, that is probably one of Jet Li's best kung fu movies. So if you're a kung fu guy like me, I know you have to have seen Fist of the Legend. The Matrix series. I'm a huge fan of the Matrix series, so I have Matrix 1, 2, and 3. I actually have Mortal Kombat Annihilation on DVD as well, so that's like a huge, huge one for me. And then on the PSP, funny enough, I have my second favorite kung fu movie, Kung Fu Hustle. If you've never seen Kung Fu Hustle, I strongly advise you to go and watch Kung Fu Hustle. It is a true treat. It's like Fist of Legend meets like Looney Tunes. It's like it's an amazing game. I mean amazing movie. I definitely recommend it. Septic, what's going on? You said Sega CD games are so underrated. I have a big collection. Sylpheed is amazing. Sylpheed is a pretty good game. I had it on Sega CD for about a month, and then I sold it. I regret selling my copy. I do have Sylpheed on the PlayStation 2. I think that's the Working Designs version or Working Designs release of that game. But Sylpheed actually is a pretty good shoot 'em up. And yeah, I mean, the Sega CD does have some good stuff. It's just really expensive. So I definitely wouldn't recommend anyone jumping out the window and starting their collection off with Sega CD games. That's probably not the best route to go. But definitely some good stuff on the Sega CDs. Hey, Septic, did you get a Switch too? Let me know. Did you grab a Switch too? I'm interested to know because I want to get one. I'm just not getting one right now. Oh yeah, you can burn. I guess you can. Yeah, you can burn CDs. I didn't realize that you could burn Sega CD games the same way you could burn Dreamcast games. Because I know burning Dreamcast games is like the big thing in high school. Um, we were burning all types of Dreamcast games, and that's kind of really what killed the Dreamcast. And so, like to a degree, it's now that we're on this topic of the Dreamcast and Sega. Like, imagine if Sega would have took the measures that Nintendo is taking now with the Sega Dreamcast. Because a big part of what killed the Dreamcast was the fact that the console itself didn't have strong enough safeguards to prevent people from being able to burn the games. So I remember in high school, like, why would you go out and spend the money to buy a Dreamcast game when your friend could just write it for you between homeroom and third period? And that's literally what we were doing. And so Sega lost a lot of money on the Dreamcast because they couldn't protect themselves from piracy. You know what I mean? And after that, well, we all know what happened to Sega after the Dreamcast. They got out of the console market altogether. They just couldn't sustain themselves, and obviously a lot of that was just poor leadership on the part of Sega. But I just think to myself, when I look at what Nintendo's doing now, you'd almost have to ask. Imagine if Sega would have been as vigilant about protecting their console and their IP the way Nintendo is. Would Sega still be around today? As a manufacturer of gaming consoles, you got to ask yourself the question. I don't need one for another year. I got so many games to catch up on. Yeah, I feel you, man. Like I don't need one right now. I may get one. I may get a Switch 2 around the holidays. I just don't need one right now. Um, True, it's hard for me to justify buying the real copy of Adventure 2 at $200 when I have a burned copy. Yeah, there's so many Dreamcast games that are just really expensive, that a lot of people just aren't gonna pay for them. They're just going to burn them, and that's really what killed the Dreamcast, man. It sucks. I think the Dreamcast was ahead of its time. I think had it had DVD capabilities, it might have been able to hang in there with like the PS2 and the Xbox. But it didn't have like the well known IPs of like a Nintendo, which I think is, if it wasn't for Mario and Zelda, the GameCube would have been an even bigger flop than it was when it first came out. Because a lot of people love and revere the GameCube now because it's like the cool retro console. It's like cool to like the GameCube now. It was not cool to like the GameCube when the GameCube first came out. When the GameCube first came out, you were like, the GameCube was seen as like you like, people looked at you like you were soft if you had a GameCube. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, if you had Xbox felt like, that felt like a more robust gaming console. That was a guy's gaming console. The PlayStation 2 was kind of like, ubiquitous in a way. But the GameCube, I think the GameCube was not liked. It was not the cool console to have. And funny enough, like, not a lot of people in my immediate circle had one. So, most people obviously had the PlayStation 2. A lot of people had Xbox for Halo, but not a lot of people were playing like Super Smash and like Mario Sunshine and stuff like that. Where did you get GTA? Where'd OD GTA V? Oh, where is GTA 5? I don't know. I don't have GTA 5 in my collection. Mario Bros. I said, burning games to me is more authentic than a fake Pokemon game. The CD will be as native as a regular disc instead of the weird crappy chipset of a knockoff cartridge. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I just picked up I bought a copy of Pokemon Sapphire and it wound up being fake. It sucks. It completely sucks. I was a little annoyed. Had to return it. Um, Dopamine 3, what's going on? He said, I found a lot of GameCube games at thrift stores. They are super common for some reason. I think they've gotten more common. I think the GameCube thing, like the GameCube, like GameCube was made really popular by Phoenix Resale. I think when he did the GameCube Gambit, it just, guys were just going crazy over GameCube. And GameCube, once like GameCube hit the YouTube algorithm, so many other YouTubers just started talking about GameCube, and it just made GameCube games seem super hot. And I think that train has faded, and now you can get Twilight Princess with ease from GameStop.com. I'm almost positive if you go on GameStop.com's website right now, you'll see Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, you'll see Smash Bros. You'll see like all of the big staple like Nintendo games. Those can easily be purchased at GameStop.com, just because I don't think they're as sought after as they were. Now, granted, they may not be complete in box, but you could still get the disc. Um, I had GameCube because it was a cheap console for my parents to buy. Same here. Same here. Like, it was, you know, the cheaper console for my mom to get at the time that she got it. It was cheap. The games didn't feel as cheap though. Like those games didn't feel that cheap. If my memory serves me correctly, they did not feel that cheap because I think when she got it for me with Star Fox Adventures, and I that was like the only game I had for like 7 months. Like I didn't have any other game, and I think the next game I got was like Batman Vengeance, and I think those are like my only two games for a really long time. And to this day, I do not know what happened to that GameCube. I still don't know what happened to. I like. I wish I knew what happened to that GameCube. I want to say I started playing like PlayStation and stuff. Maybe I traded it in. I don't know. I paid. Uh, I paid 120 for my Twilight GameCube. Yeah, I paid. I want to say I paid like around 100, maybe 112. Um, like a little, like a while ago though. Maybe less. Maybe it was like right around 100. I think I got mine for. Yeah, GameCube. It was one of those consoles. For the people that did have it though, there were games that you could have a lot of fun with it, like Double Dash. Come on, bro. Staying up till 2 a.m. playing Double Dash. Staying up till 5 a.m. playing Smash Bros. Brawl. Like, I mean Melee. I always call it Brawl, but Melee. And Melee, Star Fox was definitely overpowered. Like Star Fox was that dude in Melee. Then we got to Brawl, and Star Fox was just he was not as potent in Brawl. I think in Brawl, once Brawl came around, um who was it? Ike was definitely a guy that I used a ton, used a lot of Ike. Game and Watch became that guy for me. I used to crush people with Game and Watch. But once Ultimate came out, I felt like with Smash Bros. Ultimate, they started to come out with these characters that just made it super easy to cheese and just made it super easy to fight without fighting. Like when Smash Bros. First came out, it was about charging at your enemy, attacking. You would pursue people, pursue, pursue, pursue. But as time went on, Smash Bros became about who can react the best. Like I'm gonna stand here and wait for you to move, and then when you move, I'll attack. Like it just became very corny. And then like again, they just started to introduce characters that just made it easier and easier and easier to cheese. Most notably, Minecraft dude. That Minecraft dude was like the cheese master, bro. Like, and that was a big part of the reason why I kind of got tired of it because I used to play online a lot, and then I just realized when the match would start, like the person I was playing would just stand there, like they wouldn't fight, and I was like, "What's going on here? This got corny." But for a while, man, in Smash Bros. Ultimate, I was doing damage with fitness trainer, Wii trainer. You guys don't want to see me with the Wii trainer. Like I know it sounds funny, but I was doing damage with Wii Fit trainer. Let me catch up on some of these comments. He said, "I remember my friend not believing me when I told him there was a GameCube version. He simply didn't believe it existed." If you had to choose Xbox 360 or PS3 version game, what would you grab? That was from Nicholas L. Um, I don't know, man. I would say at this point probably PlayStation 3 because I finally found a backwards compatible PS3. So I'm probably gonna be getting rid of most of my 360 collection, but there's some really good 360 exclusives, man. Like some good ones to me. Akai Katana is a good one. It's a good shoot 'em up. A Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage 2. That's a good one. Then you've got a couple other shooters. You got Raiden 4. You've got Raiden Aces. There's some shoot 'em ups on the 360, man. Like some good ones, especially like Japanese version. Some good stuff on there. In Brawl, Meta Knight was broken. Yeah, I never really used Meta Knight. Like I've seen guys try to use Meta Knight, but like I could handle Meta Knight with Game and Watch pretty easily, pretty handily. Do you collect Saturn often? I've been dipping into the console for the past year, and it's been pretty fun, although it's a struggle at times. The challenge is like finding Saturn games. It's like finding a Sega Saturn game in the wild is tough. Like you're not gonna find it. If you do find it, 9 times out of 10, the case is gonna be cracked, broken, damaged in some way. And then if you do find a game that's in decent condition with no cracks or scratches, people are gonna want your kidney, your left toe, and your earlobe. They're gonna want, they're gonna want to charge you out the wazoo if the game is in good condition, because Saturn games are hard to find. And some of the best places to find those games are going to be at conventions or at mom and pop shops, because those are really like the only places you're going to find them. If you happen to run across or stumble across a stack of Saturn games at a yard sale, watch out, because lightning might strike you. That's how rare that is. But these days, I mean, if you want quality Sega Saturn games in collectible condition, it feels like the best place for something like that is eBay. And for me, I have the main Sega Saturn games that I want at this point. So there's really like nothing else that I want for it. If I came across a Sega Saturn game that was like I thought was pretty cool and it was like right in front of me and it was a decent deal, maybe I'd get it. But outside of that, I don't think I'd be going Sega Saturn mode. Septic says I can't stand people arguing. It's purely competitive. Smash was made to be a party game like classic Halo. Um, have you ever versed LTG? No, I don't know who that is, but I doubt I ever versed him. I'm assuming Roll P you're talking about in Smash. I've never versed anyone named LTG. Um, I wish Mass Effect 1 and 2 were on the Wii U because the Mass Effect 3 port is the best out of 360 and PS3. You know what? I got rid of my Wii U. Like I couldn't keep it. I didn't see a reason to keep it. Um I couldn't keep it. The Wii U, I know there's like a cult following for the Wii U. I know people love the Wii U. It's a very beloved console, and I've heard people talk about emulation with the Wii U and stuff like that, but I just cannot I couldn't hold on to my Wii U, man. It just didn't make sense for me. I wasn't gonna play it. It's an extremely cumbersome console to connect. There's just so many things you have to connect and charge. I used to think the Wii was annoying with like the sensor bar, but like with the Wii U, it's even more. You got the sensor bar, controller, the Wii U pad. I was like, bro, the gaming should not be this difficult, man. Like it really, really, all these plugins and parts, it just and then the games, like a majority of the games are on the Switch, which is like 10 times easier to connect and play. So I got rid of my Wii U. Muscle Mark, me so horny. Yeah, I don't know. That must be a sign that it's time to close this live. Once people start saying stuff like that, that means it's time to end this live. Nicholas L. I no longer have a PS3 and don't think I'm going to get one anytime soon. I really like handheld emulation lately, but like to collect physical too. I mean, I like handheld emulation. I may get my hands on an actual emulation handheld. I've just been trying to find like the best one. I think there's a dude on YouTube, Wolf Den. He makes a lot of videos about like the best handheld, emulation devices to get. So maybe I'll snag one of those. I get you. The Wii U was the modern Sega Saturn, and so I would say that the Wii U was the modern Sega Saturn, but you can't even say that, bro, because the Saturn is one of the hardest consoles to emulate. I think guys are still trying to figure out how to properly emulate the Saturn. The Saturn was extremely unique. The games were very unique, and we didn't really see a lot of ports for the best games on the Saturn. Like, I don't know where else you can go to play Guardian Heroes or Burning Rangers or Three Dirty Dwarves or Astal or just a lot of the Sega Saturn games that to me are just classics. But I feel what you're saying in terms of like where how awkward it was in the world of gaming. I get you. I've been collecting all 25 PS1 games Squaresoft published and teamed in North America. I'm at 14 out of 25. RPG time. Nice. RPG time. Yeah, I like those little small collecting goals, man. They're manageable. They're goals that you can tackle. I'm down with that. Also, Mark, I see no reason to keep my Wii U, but I must say the hacking on it is freaking gold. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that that's the console to hack. And that's the one thing that made me say maybe I should keep it. Maybe I'll like hack it. I'll do something with it, but I've just haven't gotten there yet. Scott, what's going down, man? He said I used to have two wikis. I sold one and don't play the other one. I probably should sell it. I have like freaking three Wii's sitting in the corner over here that I need to get rid of. Like the only reason why I have a couple of them is because they have different games. Oh, Wii U's is what you meant. Got you. The only reason why I haven't sold all my Wii's is because they each have different games downloaded to them. So when I remember way back when the Switch eShop was still not the Switch, when the Wii store was open, I was downloading like Mega Man X. I was downloading all types of like retro games onto my Wii. And I remembered one day like I had spent like a good amount of money downloading these like retro games onto my Wii, and I was like, dude, why don't you just get these physically? Like, why am I spending all this money on them digitally? And I just stopped. And I'm glad I did because look at it now. I mean, a lot of those games are pretty much locked to my Wii. I can't transfer them anywhere. Now that the Wii store is closed, like I can't re-download or do anything with them. It's like it's over. Nintendo Switch 2 has Mario Kart and 3 GameCube games. We will wait for a long time. Yeah, the Switch 2 is, I don't know. There's so many mixed feelings on it right now. And then you add in this whole banning thing, banning consoles and bricking consoles. I'm just going to wait for the dust to settle on all this nonsense before I dip my toes into the Switch 2. I want to see all this stuff just kind of flesh itself out. And I want to give the tech community some more time to just figure out what they're going to do. And then I'll dip my toes into the Switch 2. But with that being said, I am going to call it a wrap, folks. I just wanted to do a short live, just kind of highlighting some of the more rarer and expensive trades so far of 2025. These 6 games are the games that I traded for. Didn't really have to come out of pocket for any of these, so was glad about that. I have had no trades in the month of uh, June so far, so just haven't found anyone to trade with. I was hoping to be able to negotiate a trade for a copy of Hagane complete in box, but I think that ship has sailed, so no Hagane for me. We'll have to wait for that one. But until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully, you guys have a great week. It's the Y2K Collector. You guys take it easy.